Hey guys, Derek Wilcox here, coming at you for Team Power Rack Strength, and always wearing that Inzer Advanced Designs gear. This was a 90% week, working up and somewhat moderately minimally equipped. Just adding some reps this week to try and get a feel for the specific technique I'll be using in equipment. It's all a big transition to slide into full gear in a few months. Wearing my one of my favorite tank tops in the whole wide world. Always seems to give me a little bit more strength when I'm training or throwing or whatever I need to do. There's just something magical about a little girl lifting weights on top of a unicorn under a rainbow. As you can see, I'm wearing my Inzer Black Beauty knee wraps. These squats were a little bit shaky. I haven't been this wide in a while, and I definitely wasn't used to having tight wraps on anymore. It feels weird for me to say because I always love wrap squatting, but those wraps have a ton of support, and when you get those things tight, especially when you cover them with chalk, they have some serious bite to them. I did notice if I didn't have chalk, they slid around just a little bit, but it's a super easy fix, and they all of a sudden become some of the most impressive knee wraps you'll ever hope to use. If you listen to the video, you can actually hear the weights rattling around a bit, and that seems to be generated from my hips. When I haven't deadlifted or when I haven't squatted that way in quite a while, my hips, they remember what to do, but they can't do it as well as they used to, if that makes any sense. I just have to get that motor pattern back down for the wider stance squat. Now my hips were bothering me a little bit, and I'm still pulling with an arched back, but you can tell that my shoulders are a little bit more forward than normal. Just getting into a good lifter's wedge position on these aggravated my hips a little bit, and it didn't end up holding me back too much as I end up pulling 675 for a triple here, hoping to go up a little bit heavier in the next week. My bench presses felt a lot better than the previous week. This is 315 right here. Squeezing my shoulder blades together, pulling those lats down, keeping everything good and tight. 315 actually felt pretty easy, and putting on the Bumblebee bench aid again this week, trying to mimic that shirt bench groove and a little bit of overload on the shoulders. 365 was the weight that I ended up stopping at the previous week. It was an 80% week, and that seemed to be about accurate for where I needed to be, and it felt much easier this week. I believe my PR for 3 reps was just a little bit over 400 pounds, maybe 415 or 425 for 2, maybe. That was a year ago, I believe. And 405 for 3 this time around felt super easy, but I felt a little tweak in my shoulder. I had intended to go just a little bit heavier, but I decided to move on and go to my no-touch paused presses. As you can see, I'm going down. It's a lot lighter weight, 325, and instead of resting on the chest, I'm trying to pause the bar a half inch or a quarter inch off of my chest on each rep. And what that is doing is preserving the eccentric-concentric chain in the movement, so I get possibly a little bit more hypertrophy from it, even though it's just 3 reps. Time under tension is a lot higher, and I'm also conditioning my shoulders to be stable in the bottom, similar to how a shirt bench would cause you to have to hover above your chest if you have one that fits tightly. From there, I went to military press. I'd actually started doing the wrong exercise right before this. I was doing an overhead tricep extension in the warm-ups and looked at my phone and was like, oh crap, I'm supposed to be doing military press. But I digress. These were a little bit tougher, but these I did 3x3 with 205, which is about 20 pounds heavier than the previous week, since this bar is 65 pounds. I don't actually like pressing with this bar, but it's the only bar that was really unoccupied at the time. Not a big problem, but I was happy that these went as well as they did. This is my lighter day during the week. It's actually a third training day in the week, believe it or not. Rare occurrence. It's a unicorn on top of a rainbow by itself. And all I'm doing here is taking some lighter weights and practicing squatting in my knee wraps. That motor pattern is very particular and I needed to get more adapted to it. These are all in the Ensor Iron Z knee wraps. Not as extreme as the black ones. Actually, these are the black ones, but the previous set was in the Iron Z's. I use those as my training wraps all the time. They've got so many different uses that I can't count them all. I use them in my warm-ups to wrap around my thighs to get a good compression effect, and there's just endless possibilities for those things. Even occlusion training, if you want to use them for that. But I will see you guys next week. Hopefully we have some PRs coming, and stay strong.